good sort of, segue into our overall thoughts for the showcase. And just, confirming a bit of other news that I think should have been in the showcase but wasn't. But, just as taking a step back, the showcase, and want to get your thoughts on, did you think it was an effective showcase, and how did it compare to, Xbox and even Nintendo's offerings of late?
Oh, it was a killer showcase. Any showcase where you announce the next mainline Final Fantasy game is killer, because that doesn't happen very often. And
true.
then to also have some great trailers, like the Spider-Man trailer was awesome. The Demon Souls, we've already mentioned that was a great trailer as well. Then to end it with God of War is like, this was awesome. Some of these announcements were like, hey, these are headline E3 announcements kind of stuff, in their big presentations. Yeah. So, no, it was really good. And, I mean, there were a bunch of other things that they talked about, interestingly, and no Godfall in this showcase, or at least in the main showcase. It's like, I think they learned their lesson sometimes with that game, but that still is a launch
I was
game
waiting
apparently.
for it. Honestly, I was waiting for it. I was like, wait, I was going to text you because I was watching it, and I'm like, are they going to talk about Godfall? It's like the grandma thing in the Ubisoft.
I'd be cool for them to show Godfall if they're showing something different, like, oh, this is you actually... Yes. This is like the hub world, or this is like the story. Like, what's the story of the game? Like, maybe it doesn't have one. But the point is, like, they haven't shown us anything else other than just, here's the combat. Here's the combat. Is there anything else? But yeah, we also learned some other stuff that I don't know if you're about to go through.
So
post showcase as well.
Yeah, and as I said, that there were, a lot of things that just seemed like they should have been in the showcase, even if they had handled it really quick. The whole showcase, as you said, it started with Final Fantasy 16, and then it ran through a lot of the games, and it was back-ended by, okay, we know you're waiting for this. Here's the price. Made it really clean and simple and minimalistic. Here's the price. Here's the release date. This is what's happening. And then, here's one last thing, which was the God of War announcement. But so many of these other things, like, everyone's been talking about, when are they going to confirm it or have a statement? Like, number one, can you play PS1, PS2, PS3 games on it? That's now been confirmed, no. And that's what I was alluding to earlier, that Jim Ryan in that interview with Famitsu and a whole other outlets like GameIndustry.biz and a few others, is essentially just saying, with all the tech that went into the DualSense and a few other things, they just kind of, from a hardware perspective, didn't have the budget to really focus in on PS1, PS2, PS3. I think for me, the biggest problem is the PS3, because the architecture is so different, the whole cell architecture. It's just such a nightmare for them to try to be able to make it compatible, that it then creates a gap where, and they tried to do this with the PS4. They could kind of get stuff on the PS1, PS2, but not PS3, but it just feels a bit odd if you can play PS1 and PS2, but not PS3. So they've confirmed that that's not working. And then they also said that the PlayStation 5's 99% compatible with PS4 titles. That's also really weird. I assume that that's just like some of the games that had physical devices or things that are, edge cases from a PS4 perspective, and they won't work.
Yeah, it kind of covers them for that. That 1%. There might be a game that just will not work. Outside of the needing peripherals and stuff. So it covers them there. Yeah. To say 100%, like even Microsoft's not said that.
Well, and that's the thing. I think maybe it's just they're trying to cover themselves from a negative article or something like that. But I think if you're 99%, you pretty much can just say you're backwards compatible with PS4. Because I think if it's just a few edge cases, people aren't really going to work up about that. It's more if I look at the top 100 selling games, do they work? And if they all work and there's a quirk here or there, I don't think anyone's really going to be fussed about it. But they've almost made it seem like it's not compatible historically. Because, they had Mark Cerny had the whole commentary around the top 100 games are going to, they should work. And then people were like, well, wait, does that mean all the rest of the games weren't? So it's good that they at least they've just put a line through it. PS4, pretty much any title works on PS4. It's going to work on PS5, PS1, PS2, PS3. Hey, you got to go buy a PS3. And you can get the launch PS3s that have the physical emulators on them. So for PS1 and PS2. So that's an option for some people as well. A lot of people I know take advantage of that. The other one was just around the launch titles. Like they weren't really clear on what the launch titles were for the PS5, which was really odd. And then they confirmed it afterwards. So just quickly running through of the ones we know, and this could be added to quite quickly. So Astro's Playroom, which is really, really sick. Like Astrobot, like I'm really keen to play that in VR one day. And this is like a 3D platformer version, so not a VR one, but it's very associated with DualSense. So, and that's going to be pack-in, like a very old school method, pack-in for every single PS5. Again, we're not sure if that's permanent or it's just in the sort of launch series of the PS5s. Demon Souls, as we just referred to, Destruction All-Stars, Godfall, Just Dance 2021, Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Sackboy, Big Adventure. So they're the ones that I know are confirmed right now. And again, they might, add more games as time goes on. I know that there's like lots of third-party games that are also going to be at launch. So things like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So yeah, there's going to be a bunch of games that you'd expect if they're launching as a sort of cross-platform on Xbox. They should be at launch with the PS5 as well.
And you know what? On that Valhalla note, if there was any game, as weird as it is, that would get me to get a new console, it's probably that one. Just simply because I really want to play that game. It's like, oh man, I'll be playing it on the last gen. It's not going to run as well.
It's coming on PC, right?
Yeah, but to me, their console. It's a weird thing. Like I always play those games on console, so it would feel maybe it's something to consider, but. I'd probably want to play it on the Xbox ecosystem for obvious reasons.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well,
at least with that game, they've confirmed that when you do get a Series X, which I know you will, it will be a free upgrade to Series X. So that's been confirmed. And just on that sort of, cross-gen conversation, something that I thought was bizarre is, Jim Ryan, a whole bunch of Sony people have been very adamant that, literally their quote, "We believe in generations," and that was the commentary of Xbox's strategy of the first 18 months. You won't likely see many first party Xbox Series X/S exclusives. Whereas, Sony are kind of alluding, they didn't confirm, but they alluded that, no, we believe in generation. There's going to be PS5 exclusives. And then after the event, and also, by the way, after a lot of people had pre-ordered the PS5, they confirmed that Spider-Man Miles Morales, which, by the way, is like a huge game for a lot of people, Sackboy, Horizon Forbidden West, and a whole other host of games are actually coming to PS4. And then not only that, like almost all of them will have free upgrades to the PS5. And I thought that was a bit of a dodgy move. Because, a lot of these people were like, hey, this is the only place I'm going to be able to play this Miles Morales game. And now, actually, that's not right. And also, when you do upgrade eventually, you'll get the game for free. So I don't know. I thought it was a really dodgy move from them. I was really surprised, actually.
I think you keep trying to say Rick Moranis at the same time as you're saying Miles Morales.
I know. I don't know. It just like the name always throws me, man. And then the other one was that we still haven't seen the UI, but they've confirmed that they will be showing it off somewhat shortly. And then there's a remaster of Spider-Man coming with all the DLC to PS5.
That's the weirdest thing to me because it's like, man, like that just feels a weird thing to have like announced before you've even launched the next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's also really muddied the waters because what they've done is with the Miles Morales game, did I say it right this time?
Yes.
If you buy the Ultimate Edition, you will have the ability to get the digital version of the Spider-Man remaster when it comes out. And then everyone's now going, well, wait a second. I already have Spider-Man on PS4. Can't I get that for free? And they haven't, as far as I've seen, maybe this has changed, but they haven't confirmed one way or the other, like whether you're going to be able to get a free upgrade. And then just the final thing for me is just, they're pretty much confirmed that they're going to start charging $70 US. And, we're going to feel that in Australia as well, for these really large games. So, I think like Ragnarok, like all those type of games, they're going to start charging $70, which is kind of like, felt like it was coming for a long time. It's probably been pushed down from a pricing perspective post GFC anyway for a long period of time. So that's not a shock to me, but it is hard for a lot of people because it just means maybe that's one less game that they can get a year.
Yeah, at this point, I think it's just probably wise to accept it, unfortunately. It's just the way things are going.
Yeah. So it looked like, for me, I thought it was a 10 out of 10 showcase. Like, not that I loved everything that it was in there, but it was so good that actually, and I think we're pretty similar in this way that, I don't think it's very logical to buy a console at launch. Now, if you're doing a gaming podcast, you might want to think about it, but, I don't think it's super logical, and I'd rather just go, okay, I'll even wait for the next iteration, like the PS5 Pro, whatever it's going to be called, before I jump in. And, there's a whole suite of games that come with it at that point. But I must admit, like when I watched the showcase, it did make me go, oh, I almost feel like buying one of these PS5s. Like I came close. So I'm not shocked at the reaction. And I think just looking, at lots of different data points, like people surveyed on Twitter, the buzz, the likes, the amount of views, all that kind of stuff. I don't know, dude. Like to me, there's nothing that indicates that, this generation, we don't know the real numbers, but it feels like for every 3 PlayStation 4s that were sold, there was 1 Xbox One sold. With everything that's sort of like happened and all the sort of, like those data points that I'm talking about, there's nothing to indicate to me that there's going to be a breakaway from that. It feels like, there's going to be similar sales numbers. Like it's not going to be on par like it was with the 360 and the PlayStation 3. And I don't know, man. I don't know what that means for Microsoft in the long run. Like, are they going to be able to sustain like a console that is like third run? Like, behind PlayStation and Nintendo? Like, I don't know if that's going to work.
Oh, and honestly, it doesn't actually, like, I don't even like thinking about it because it's so irrelevant to my own personal, like, enjoyment of playing video games. How much a console
if they don't
does
exist. No, but if it doesn't exist, it's going to impact you.
Yeah, but I let other people worry about that. Like, honestly, like, this is completely honestly, I actually don't care about if one console sells more than another. I care about obviously being able to play the games that I have and things like that. And
yeah,
if Xbox goes away the dodo because they don't sell enough this generation, well, then I'll get a PlayStation or I'll just play stuff on PC. Like, it doesn't worry me, honestly. It never has. Even like, there's a documentary coming out soon about the console wars, Sega and Nintendo. Like, even back then, like, you're a kid, so you had the console you had. And I was glad I had a Super Nintendo, but like, I would have loved the Genesis, it didn't worry me. I just
Mega Drive for us.
Yeah, and it's obviously beneficial for us to, to have these viewpoints to talk about this. But I'm kind of the person that I'm like, well, let's just see how it goes. I like to see things play out, but it doesn't really worry me that much. I will say that's got nothing to do with me being like, oh, I own an Xbox. I don't care if I own stuff. Like, I wouldn't care. It wouldn't matter if I had a PlayStation either. It's just
no. I know that back in the day when 360 was kind of on top of the PS3. It's not like you cared one way or the other. It was more, I guess my question was more around, is it concerning, like, hey, there might not be a Xbox, whatever the next one's going to be called, terrible title, insert here. But yeah, it sounds like you're just a bit like, well, if it happens, and I'll just switch. It's not like the games are going to go away. So
exactly, yeah.
No, fair enough. No, like, so, a great event. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm actually glad that they, were able to have the sway and get, the big heavy hitters like the Final Fantasies and, the God of War announcements. And yeah, it was a great event. And, on reflection, I think, in the next console launch, I wouldn't even be surprised if they wait a bit longer to announce some of these bigger things, because it hasn't seemed to impact the sales at all. And just gave them more time to prepare and really, get that price exactly what they want it to be.